And so I go to these places, and whenever I can, I meet young people. Old people, I don't know what to do with them. You know, it's like, preserve yourself, don't die too soon. But when I meet young people, there's a mind that can be approached. There's a point of view that can be spoken to. And the first thing I ask any young person, and any person below the age of 50, I call youth man, because they're all younger than me. I would say, youth man, are you into music? And everywhere from here to Bhutan, young people say, yes. And then I'll go, yeah. They go, yeah. I go, okay. What are you into? And they'll name some big band like Metallica, because they're everywhere. Or they'll say something like Led Zeppelin, which is everywhere. Or they'll say Tool, another big band that's everywhere. You know, good bands. And I said, okay, but have you ever heard of this band or that band or that band? They're like, no. And that's why I always carry a 1 terabyte hard drive of music with me everywhere I go, because I spread music like a freaking disease. I am Typhoid Henry, but with MP3s. And so when I was in Iran, I met this young guy as a friend of a family that I was arranged to meet. And so, smart guy, spoke great English. I said, so you like music? He said, yeah. I said, this is Tehran. You have a very restrictive government. He said, tell me about it. I said, do you all have a music scene? And he said something that was so cool and so righteous. He said, we do, but it's so underground, you need a shovel to get to it. I was like, damn. Because, you know, it's a very oppressive government. The people are wonderful. Their government sucks. Don't equate people with their government. You know how that is. America, government, but Americans are cool, right? Okay. And obviously, I know you know that. But so the government there is oppressive, really oppressive. Not oppressive like Saudi Arabia. That's a whole other kind of oppressive. That's a whole other kind of cop, as they say. And I've been there too. They have a music scene as well. But you need 2 shovels to get to that one, because that one will get you locked up or beheaded. And so I said, how do you all get your music? They go like, we sneak files in, we do this, we do that, we, sneak them in this way and that way. I said, what if I made you a 1 terabyte hard drive of a ridiculously huge amount of music and brought it to you? Would you be able to pass it around to people in your city who could pass it around to other people and other people and other people and other people, to where P-Funk would be all over Tehran inside of a year? He said, you could get the hard drive? I said, can you get it in? He said, yeah. So we worked on it. And filling 1 terabyte of music, it's a lot. And so this 1 terabyte hard drive started making the rounds to music freaks I know in Los Angeles. I go, you have 2 weeks, fill this up with stuff that I didn't put on it. And it would get passed around like this peace bomb. And finally, the thing is full. And via New York City, about 14 months later, we got the hard drive back to Tehran, where it is now screwing up the government of Tehran. And young people are hearing everything from Fugazi to Jane's Addiction to Black Sabbath in Tehran. Now, if Lars Ulrich needs to get his 65 cents from this, I guess he can write me a letter. But I'm not trying to, he's a nice enough guy. I'm not trying to make bands go broke. I'm trying to make bad governments fall over with young people and music and no damn bullets. And so a while after that, I found myself in Sri Lanka, which is a relatively fairly peaceful place, except for the Tamil tigers who blow everything up. Besides them, it's just fan-frickin-tastic. And so I'm staying with a family in central Sri Lanka, in the mountains where they grow the tea. It's a town called Kandy, and this is a setup that's been made up for me by a guy I know in Saudi Arabia. He knows a family in Sri Lanka. Henry, they're going to meet you. They're going to let you see real Sri Lankan life, which is perfect for me. And so I meet the husband. His name is Ananda. Wonderful guy. I meet the wife. She doesn't speak much English, but she's very nice and a wonderful cook. And I meet the son. Perfect. 16 years of age, has testosterone and loves music, learns English in school and can speak English. And so I'm 15 or 16 in my head perpetually. Grown-ups kind of wear me out, but youth, they're immature. I'm pathetic. We get along. And so I find myself bored of the other two in the kid's room, sitting at his desk with him, with his computer in front of us. And so, of course, my first question, kid, you like music? He's like, yeah. I said, do you have any record stores in Sri Lanka? He said, no. I said, then how do you get your music? And he starts looking all around the room. I go, you steal it. He's like, give me a break. I'm in the mountainous region of frickin' Sri Lanka. What do you want me to do? I said, no, I got it. Then I asked him, you ever heard of this band, this band, this band, this band? He said, no, but I want to hear them. And I know my hard drive is in my backpack. I'm like, oh, I'm about to bring the good pain. So I said, so you like music. How about your friends? He goes, man, we live for music. I said, show you right. I said, so what kind of music are you into? And this like young whippersnapper looks at me like I'm an idiot. And he says, death metal. Like, I should have known that when I got my visa. Like, if you talk to any young person in Sri Lanka, they're into death metal. Know it, understand it, go. But I had to be told. And so I said, death metal, huh? He said, yeah. I said, well, me too. Completely down with the program. I said, are there any Sri Lankan death metal bands? A fair question. And he looks at me again, like, yeah. Like, what, you think there's not? I said, do you have any on your computer? He went, yeah. I said, dude, let's get it on. And we go into a Sri Lankan death metal fest in his room. And here's the great news. Sri Lankan death metal sounds like death metal. But it's fine, it's really good. The lyrics are even perhaps more difficult to decipher. And so we're getting off on Sri Lankan death metal. I said, can I steal some of your Sri Lankan death metal? He's like, yeah. And so I take out the hard drive and I plug it in. We drag, we drop, we drag, we drop. And all of a sudden I've got like 5 gigabytes of Sri Lankan death metal. I'm up to here with Sri Lankan death metal. Me in a cave and Sri Lankan death metal. I'll never have to come out. Anyway, so I started asking these questions. You like this band, this band, this band? And he's so rabidly curious about music. So I said, okay, youngster, get out of the way. I'm about to drop a whole bunch of science onto your desktop. And for the better part of 20 minutes, I selectively dragged and dropped main food groups of music onto his computer. Things that a young person in the mountainous region of Sri Lanka should not live without, and also have the ability to disseminate amongst his peers so they can pass it on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and one day take over Sri Lanka and not have terrorism and Mahinda Rajapaksa who hangs out with third world despots, and they'll have a kinder, more scientifically inclined government because the politicians will be music fans. Does that sound hopelessly naive? Yes, it does. I am damn sure I'm right about that being a solution. And so anyway, I give this kid all kinds of music. I go, there you are, son, the future's yours. And I leave him to go do his young man thing, hate the world and play music. There you go. And so I spend the rest of the day driving around looking at tea farms, which were quite beautiful. And then we come back, it's dinner time, and Ananda and I come back, and the kid is alone in his room. He's got the speakers cranked up so loud you can hear every song that's playing in his room. And he's now on a severe Misfits jag. Yes, I brought the Misfits to Sri Lanka. And I know Glenn is showing up tomorrow. Don't tell him I did this. I don't know how he'll take the news. Anyway, so he's rocking out. And finally it's dinner time. So Ananda knocks on the son's door like, come to the dinner table. And so he's sitting to my left on this side of the table. The wife is serving up this beautiful food. And the kid is staring at me like he's high, like he's catatonic, except for the smile, which will not move, and he will not speak. I said, youth man, do you ever take the smile off your face to say anything? And he just kind of stared at me, smiling like a Cheshire cat for like another 3 or 4 seconds, and then barely above a whisper, he said, the Stooges. Because I had put on the Stooges on his desktop, because every young man and young woman, anything that breathes needs to hear those records at least 80 times each per week. I'm a doctor, trust me. And so I said, so you like the Stooges? Oh, my heart is so warmed, because for me, Iggy Pop is the heavyweight champion of rock and roll. And so, and he might not be your exact cup of tea, fair enough, but you gotta respect a guy who at age 66 still goes on stage and totally destroys the place. How much do I love this guy's music? In about 10 days from now, just to show you, in solidarity with what a music maniac I am, like I know you are, on my own money, just to do it, in about 10 days, I am flying from Los Angeles to Seoul, South Korea, with only one purpose, to see the Stooges play in Seoul, South Korea. Why? Because I have to see the Stooges play in Seoul, South Korea. Because life is so short. I need to do things that are so outrageously, Henry, have you lost your mind? Oh, absolutely. I lost it when I heard Bob Dylan when I was 9. I lost my mind and got something else much better in return. So I'm looking at this kid who's like a 15 or 16-year-old who loves the Stooges. And I also realize that when that kid hits 18 and the puberty really kicks in and the father tries to send him to his room, that fight is going to go into the backyard. Because when that kid has that kind of music in his mind, that is going to be a kid who's going to look at all authority and say, not so fast. And that is how the world changes. That's how it gets better and better. So, who is there to do that? The wind? Magic? No. That's you and me. That's what we do. And that's what we do here at Wacken, and that's what we do when we're out of Wacken on the streets with our friends. We spread the music, we spread the good vibes and the superior intelligence, and we go bravely and fearlessly forward. That's you, and that's me. And get ready for Wacken 2014 next year. See ya. Good night.